move to the review of Edge of Venomverse. Okay, Jamie, you were the one you picked this out for us to read
Yes, I
a
did.
while ago. Okay, so Edge of Venomverse is basically leading to Venomverse. And issue number 1 starts with X-23. We see she's being chased, and she accidentally frees a symbiote suit or symbiote, which takes over X-23. Obviously, she does some damage. Then we meet some teenagers, and they meet her in like an abandoned building, and they're all kind of scared. So they go away, but later she helps them out. They get into some trouble. She helps them out, along with the Venom. A venomized X-23 helps them out, and she basically joins the group. But then they all get a bit venomized, and symbiotes take over all of them. And then eventually, X-23, who was venomized, is taken away into some kind of portal, and where she meets a venomized Captain America, telling her to join in a big fight that's going to come up, a big war that's going to come up. And then we go on to issue 2, which is focusing on Gwenpool. And Tim, I'll let you continue on.
Each issue of Edge of Venomverse has to do with a specific character. Sonny, you said X-23 is the first, Gwenpool is the second, and then you go on to Old Man Logan, Ghost Rider, and I can't remember the other one.
Deadpool.
Can't
forget Deadpool. Come on.
Yeah. But so Gwenpool, well, see, this is the one that I enjoyed the most, and it has to do with her being venomized, and the scene where she comes in, you got these two guys that are standing there getting ready to do this nefarious drug deal, and she just comes trucking up. She's like, "Hello, fellow drug dealers, my name is Gwenpool. Are we here to do a drug deal tonight?" And the guys are like, "What in the heck is this? What's going on?" Right. And then the next panel is just her getting riddled with bullets. And I love the breaking of the fourth wall with her. This is the first real issue I've ever read that had Gwenpool in it in any way, shape, or form. So I really enjoyed that. That one was a super favorite of mine. Issue 3, I do believe, was Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider, right? Yep. The Robert Reyes Ghost Rider. And in that one, they're focusing on taking Mr. Hyde. He's being transferred, and everybody's trying to go at him. We got Ford. You have this crazy ape Deadpool that had a super long name. I'm not going to try to pronounce it.
Octo Sasquatch Pool.
There you go. It might be right. Is that right? Yeah.
That should be one of the do you know questions.
Yeah. How do you spell it? Yeah.
Lots of letters.
Yeah. But then, but eventually one of the people or beings after Mr. Hyde is Ghost Rider, the Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider, who has already been venomized, and he's destroying everybody. And again, each issue pretty much ends with the characters being taken into a portal and being led to the venomized Captain America. Mm-hmm. And then after that, we have the Old Man Logan, and he's taken hostage. Archangel gets him, Bruce Banner Jr., who from Prince Reyes, they take Logan hostage, and then they have a T-Rex try to get him, but again, venomized, takes over, and then again leads to meeting the Captain America venomized. Also, we go to Deadpool. Pretty much the same thing. Deadpool was dealing with this issue. Mm-hmm. Pretty much everything was leading towards a character, like you said, would focus on a character. They're venomized or they get venomized, and then they eventually meet the venomized Captain America, and finally ended with the war stories, which showed Doctor Doom, showed Doctor Strange. Yeah, the Punisher. I really looked at the Punisher. I thought looked really cool. Yeah. Even till there's a what if, the Punisher was venomized, and so we got to see that in this. But again, everybody eventually leads to. It's basically a story that's leading you to
Venomverse. Yeah.
So for me, it was fine to read. I was more wondering. I was like, I wonder why Jamie didn't pick Venomverse itself, since this is more leading to Venomverse. It's Edge of Venomverse. Mm-hmm. And some of the artwork I was fine with. Some of the stuff I was like, okay, like Gwenpool was kind of iffy for me. At points it was like they have action, but at points I was like, okay, this seems more like it's very geared towards a young girl. I'm like, I get it. I get the appeal, but surprise, surprise, I'm not a young girl. So
well, now we got to change our whole dynamic of the show.
Yeah. So that one I was kind of like, regular. Same with X-23. But for me, it was a lot of okay parts, when it comes to Old Man Logan, I like Old Man Logan, but I really don't like the one thing I really didn't ever like about Old Man Logan was how they made it his character. It killed most of the X-Men. One thing I can't stand is when characters that have been well established just get wiped out with nothing. Like it really brings the character down. But like I said, we get Deadpool, we get the Punisher part, and to me, I say Venomverse was an okay read, a little bit better than okay. So I won't get a 5, but I will say like this isn't one that I'm going to be like, oh, everybody needs to read it. I'm interested to read Venomverse, but for Edge of Venomverse, I say it's an okay read. If you want to read it, I wouldn't advise against it, but I wouldn't say you need to read it. I give Edge of Venomverse a 6 out of 10.
Wow, it's not a
Ooh.
10.
No.
That is now the official lowest score we've had.
Tim gave what was the monster one for Halloween? A 5.
Oh, lead.
Yeah,
Marvel
never mind.
Premiere number 28.
I was just
But
surprised you went lower than Punisher Circle of Blood.
But my lowest, yeah, my lowest.
It's your lowest. Wow.
But yeah, so
6.
still okay. 6
Okay.
out of 10 for
Okay.
me.
6. I was waiting for an 8, but 6 is fine. I expected at least a 7, but hey, we were in the ballpark. Tim?
Okay, so the big takeaways with this for me, Doom Venom in War Stories, that was amazing to see. I am very excited to that right there was the deal breaker for me to read Venomverse. I was like, okay, I want to see Doom Venom, that I want to see more of that. But yeah, Gwenpool was the standout issue for me. This has a high amount of violence, way more than I thought Marvel would allow. So this is more than is common in a Marvel title. That surprised me and kept me reading. Now, as far as everything else goes, I went in under the impression that it was a full story, which it is and it isn't. You have the overarching thing of the Venomized Captain America coming in at the end, grabbing each character. And this is what leads into Venomverse. And each character gets its own individual story, which I thought was pretty cool, but also a little disappointing because I wanted to see a full story, but I guess we are going to get that in Venomverse, which is what I'm going to read after this. So as far as writing goes, if I took the time to grade each issue, we'd be sitting here for another hour. So overall,
Yeah, we don't want that.
Right. So overall, for the 5 issues, the writing, because each issue was done by a different creative team, the writing gets an 8 from me. It was solid. It was good enough. Their established characters were established enough, but that's kind of where it ends. And you get to see some really different, unique things in the multiverse for Marvel. And I dig that. Overall, for artwork, this is a really low 8 for me. So like an 8, borderline 7.9. And the only reason for that is I think the best part of the series was the artwork in Gwenpool, and everybody else kind of suffered from that, with the exception of the artwork in War Stories for Doctor Doom. So I really had to struggle with giving it an 8, but I had to judge it overall and not based on individuals. So overall, solid 8. So writing 8, artwork 8 for me. Gwenpool being the standout, and the Doctor Doom short story in War Stories also being the standout for me.
Nice to see total different opinions on that. So real fast, I just want to say that I did give this to you guys for a reason, and the reason is that if you did not like this, you will like the rest of the story probably, but you would understand more that's happening in Venomverse and in Venomized, because Sonny, once we get to Venomized, it's a crossover with the X-Men.
Yeah.
So there's a whole thing going on. Yeah, it crosses over with X-Men Blue, I believe. But it's, to me, like having a whole story, having 5 different, I thought it was a cool concept. And that's why I kind of threw this out there, because it's different. You have a different creative team on each book. Mm-hmm. You have a different outlook on the character. It leads into Venomverse so well that those end basic scenes, like with, Cap coming in and taking them, fully explained why and
Hmm.
what's going on. So that's why I gave it to you guys. I liked it. I didn't love it, but when you get into Venomverse and Venomized, you'll love it because of the reason that you read this. That's why I picked this one for you guys. But if I had to give this a grade, you guys pretty much hit all the main points on it. If I had to give it a grade, I'd give it at least an 8.2. And that's what I was sticking with. Because of the fact that once you guys read, if you guys do, I don't know if Sonny is now because of the score.
I would say it was fine. It was fine to lead up. It was. I said,
Yeah.
okay, it makes me want to read Venom.
Yeah. So once you guys read Venomverse and Venomized, you'll go back to Edge of Venomverse and probably bump that up a little bit.
Right on.
So yeah, that was my favorite. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, a little things a little bit different today. Whereas Jamie gives Edge of Venomverse 8.2, Tim gives Edge of Venomverse 8.0, and I give it a 6.0.
You're just mad
Like
at
I
me
said-
for Punisher Circle.
No. Like I
You
said,
were
for
waiting.
me,
You're like, I'm gonna get this one.
for this one, I was like, I always want to enjoy. I always want to love comic books.
Oh
So
yeah.
if I give 10 out of 10s every week, I'm more than fine with it. But yeah, for this one, I guess maybe I wanted like a bigger ending, and it all felt very, like I said, a lead up. Maybe if I read with it Venomverse itself, it might seem better.
Yeah.
But for just alone Edge of Venomverse alone, I was like, oh, it's okay. But not I don't want to say 5 because I'm like, it's better than that. But I didn't want to say, oh, it's so good, because I didn't feel like, oh, I was so interested in it. So I would say that I'm like, okay, a little bit better than okay. It's 6.
Yeah.
Me.
No, and I respect on that score, dude. Like 100%. Like you're taking it from a perspective of never reading them. You take it from a different idea. And with me reading them, that's why my score is a little bit higher than both years. So if you get the chance to check out Venomverse and Venomized, and then come back to it and just tell us, well, your score will stay the same no matter what. But just give us what you thought overall if you get a chance to read the other ones.
See, I always like hearing when a book makes you change from a 10 down to something else, especially as low as a 6, because then, I want to know why. Well, why didn't Sonny think this was really awesome? Now it's a 6. Okay, tell it to me. And I dig that. I like that a lot.
Yeah. So there we go. There is our review of Edge of Venomverse.